Good. Okay, so this is a series of candle pieces where I've used cake tins as the mould. And so with the whole series, what I'm very, very interested in is what becomes a mould, what can be a tool, and how we can use it. These cups are actually failed castings from a company that's up in Sheffield, and to ask industry to make failures is a very, very interesting and curious conversation to have. And they did a super job in failing for me. And so these are directly from tins, and they're cast with pewter, and then looking at wing nuts, not as wing nuts, but as moths. And so it's very much about bringing aspects of the animal out of already known objects and trying to understand their language a little bit more and differently. Then this series is called Ghost, and here I'm using second-hand ceramic candlesticks and casting directly into them. The process is super quick. It takes about 10 minutes per object, and what is really exciting is smashing the ceramics off and finding out what's inside. For me, I have a huge issue with hierarchies, and with this it's starting to deal with the hierarchy of ceramic in craft, and for me they're seen as the kings of craft, where actually for me I just use them as a tool, and you don't see any of the ceramic anymore. And so you have a series of just under 50 which exposes the core, the inside, the unknown of the slip cast ceramic candlestick. Here the ceramics remains, and so what you have is you have the skin of the ceramic, but then you see the core of the pewter inside. And again, it's about destroying them and seeing what potential they have, and also the dialogue between the craft. So I'm irritated by ceramics, but I also understand that there's a role and a history of metal being a tool for ceramic and glass, and so how we can twist that and develop something else. So here I'm really buying really awful ceramics and then just seeing how it happens. There are failures, but there's also chance, a lot of chance involved, and absolute delight in exposing what happens through the process. And then you have Baroque Beauties, which is an edition of 5 in the series. There are 5 editions, and for me what I did here was I bought 5 sterling silver candlesticks, but I kept the wrapping on the candlesticks that the sellers sold them to me from eBay. So what I wanted to do was look again at a different hierarchy. So it's the hierarchy of the original silver candlestick, but also the wrapping, and that we're always in a rush to get to what is the good stuff, but actually there's some very, very interesting qualities in here which we dismiss, that we get rid of, that we're not interested in because we just want to get to the goodies. And so this was an exercise in understanding what potential the packaging has, what the packaging does, and what it can hold when the whole object becomes the same material. And again, this is mimicking the ceramic process of slip casting. So I create molds, and then I pour the pewter in and then move it around like this, and then chuck out what's not needed. So they're hollow, which again is a surprise because casting is seen as a kind of solid process. And again, when you look at hierarchies within making, casting is seen as a really not a very classy process, because a lot of tourist stuff is done, a lot of production is done, it's efficient, it's economical, and here you can do something quite different. So that's an addition. And then these 2 series of figurines, which are really aesthetically difficult for me, is hideous ceramics, really cute, bordering on kitsch. I mean, I couldn't live with them. I don't want to live with them. They're not for me. But again, it's just taking this hideous second-hand stuff that no one wants. No one bids on this. It's really, really close to the bin as usual. But then seeing what the potential is, and with them again, they're directly into the ceramics and cast. But what you get, I don't know if you can get this, Michael, is these seams that go on. And again, there's no finishing. So I don't put any tools on these really. And then what comes out is what comes out. So some of this looks really highly polished, but that's not me manually doing it. It's what happens through the process. So it's very, very fast. It's very fluid. It's very quick. It's full of surprise. And that's what keeps me highly motivated in producing this new work.